Okay guys, so today we're going to be reloading a little bit of 3220. Be the same process for any cartridge of this this variety. So basically anything that that crimps in with a roll crimp. So your 38 special, your 44 Magnums, your 44 special, your 38 Smith & Wesson, 32 Smith & Wesson, all that good stuff. So I've got a bunch of brass here. Now this is nickel plated brass. Up here in Canada sometimes you got to take whatever you can find. One good thing about the nickel plated brass is it does resize a lot easier, and this being a small case, it doesn't resize that hard anyway. So I probably won't even need any lube on these today. I've got my Lee 3-hole turret press. I do have an auto index that I picked up for it today, but I haven't got it set up yet, and they don't tend to work that great in cold weather anyway, and there's no heat out here today, so we'll just use the manual index. So the 3 dies you're going to need for reloading cast bullets, or any type of pistol bullet really, is your resizing die. Now this is a full length resizing die. You could use just an X sizing die if you wanted to, but this will put it back to factory specs. I'm using the Lee powder through expanding die with the riser that you need on any of the turret presses or anything like that, and the auto disc powder measure. Loading with shotgun powder today. I'm not going to divulge my loading information, but I've already done a little run on it. I know what I'm getting. I'm getting about halfway between the starting load and the maximum load. And this stuff is going to be fired in a Husqvarna bolt action rifle, so I'm not concerned about overpressure. If this was an old Smith & Wesson break top or something of that faction, some old black powder gun, I'd start off much lower, probably below the starting grains, or I'd be using something other than this. Anyways, so that's going to expand and drop the powder on one shot. If you don't have the powder thrower, it's not a big deal. You can use the dies alone. This little nut here screws off, and that's where your powder measure screws in. But if you don't have that, all you really need is a funnel, or you don't even need that, but they're nice to have because they're made to fit in there. You can stick that in there, and you can dump each one in however you want to measure. It doesn't matter. But I'm going to use this. It works really well when it's heated out here. I didn't feel like lighting a fire just to do this video, so this disc is going to stick. You're going to see me pushing it back now and then because this is the spring model. It doesn't have the pullback chain, but I got to do a little more work in here and get it working a little better for cold weather. But like I say, usually it's heated in here and I don't have that issue. So that is position 2. Over in position 3, this is your roll crimp die. Now I've already loaded a couple here. I'll get one of these in frame. It doesn't really want to focus with the brass is quite shiny. Anyway, hopefully you can kind of see that. You can see it's got a bit of a roll crimp right there. Now this mold, this is the Lee 93 grain mold. I think it's really meant for your 32 ACPs and that. This is modified to throw a 314 diameter bullet. And this is all lubed with Johnson paste wax. So that's the basic setup. I'll go through. I'll explain it again as I'm going through, and hopefully this video helps somebody out. So your empty case. Normally, if it's your first time using the cases or whatnot, you'd use this little tool. It has a little gauge in there. Trim them to length. That's all done. Once you trim to length, you got a little deburring tool. So turn on the inside, turn on the outside. But I've spared you that nuisance. So we'll go ahead, we'll put back in position 1. So in position 1, you want to go full stroke, and at this point, well, here's something too. So when you're using this safety prime, you really want to put your ram all the way up and then screw your die down till it just kisses it, tighten it down. If you don't, your height of your primer arm will not match the safety prime. You can see from the dust, it's been a while since I've used this. But when it's at the right height, all you do is just give her a little push, and that'll load a primer. Pull that out and show you. So that puts a primer in there. I think my lens might be dirty. Anyway, well, there was a primer in there. So that's all that does. As your press comes down, it pulls down that spring-loaded collar and shoves the primer up in the case. And this is a small rifle primer, and changing the primers is easy as pulling this one out and putting in the large one. But of course we don't need large for today. Okay. So then on your downstroke, do a little extra little push. Not much to it, seats the primer. Now normally this would auto-index, but because of the cold weather I've taken that out. I don't want to strip my ratchet. So we're in position 2. This is the 3220 powder through expanding die with a little riser, which you have to buy separately, and the powder measure. I'll see if I can grab one of those. I've usually got that stuff all over the bench, but I did actually clean up a little bit today. Don't see one. But anyway, it's just a hollow plug. Oh, here we go. So this is what you're going to find inside of here. This is actually a rifle one, so this goes on the outside of the case. Normally they got a slight bow and it goes inside the neck of your case. Gives you a slight expansion so you can see the bullet. And when it goes up inside the die, it'll actuate the powder measure. And we'll do that next. Okay. So you see as it came up, your primer arm will just fall away. And right there it's up against the now you can see it's gone up a little bit before it started moving anything here. That was the die going down inside and expanding the neck, and then it bottoms out and our little disc will come through, pick up the powder, drop it down. Now, yeah, see, I have to push that back. So that's position 2. Position 3, take a bullet, set it in the expanded neck. It set there fine, like it does, and just run it up. This is really the most important piece right here when it comes to setting stuff up. Now these are on turrets, so once they're set up, they're good. Take it out, put in your new caliber. If you're not using a turret, oops. Okay, that one's a dud. I'll show you that. I'm not sure what happened there. That bolt may not have got sized properly. You can see it didn't go up all the way. It seated before it could do that. So to set that up, you take a loaded round with the same type of bullet that you want to use. You just run it up in there, and you'll screw the main body down until it touches. And then this little piece on top, same thing. Screw it down until it just kisses it. And there you've got a loaded round. Now let's try it again, see if we can get one without screwing it up. So index it back to position 1, full length resize, and prime. Seat and primer, rotate the press. There, that picks up the powder. And you really want to keep an eye on this, make sure it's working. You can almost see 9mm case or like a 38 Smith & Wesson, something a little shorter, you can see the powder in. These ones, being a longer case, you can't quite see it until you pull it almost out and you can see. So just make sure you got powder in there, main thing. We'll try this again. Set our cast bullet on there. There. And one complete round. So I'll just run a few through here. Make sure you hear the little click on the primer, so you know you got one in there. Powder. And if you see this cycle, you pretty much know the powder's in there anyway. But if there's any doubt at all whether or not that cycled properly, make sure you check your powder charge. So as you can see, you can pump them out pretty quick, and you can save a little bit of time with the auto index feature. But it doesn't save you a whole lot. And when the weather's cold like it is right now, it's not going to save you any time because it's going to keep fucking up on you. But hopefully this new one I got, it's the old type, mostly all aluminum instead of plastic. It should be a lot more robust. That's one that I fired before. It sized a lot harder. Still didn't need any lube though. Didn't hit myself. So I don't know if you guys have watched any of my videos before, but I have a few videos on reloading for this. Or not reloading for this, for shooting this, I should say. And what I did, I couldn't find any data for this powder. So I just started low, really low, because being shotgun powder, I wasn't sure how much to use. Until I got a decent sized group, and I could tell it was pretty slow, like just barely breaking the sound barrier. Excuse me, on one load. I had another load that wasn't breaking the sound barrier at all. They weren't too bad. A little bit of vertical stringing, but group was pretty tight. So I didn't really do much with it until I found some load data. I found some load data. This is Winchester 452 AA Trap 100, exact same powder. So I got some load data now. So these loads here have almost twice as much powder as the first ones. So stay tuned for that little update. I'll take those to the range and see how they group, make sure they're not letting and all that. And yeah, I'll see you next time, guys. Thanks for watching.